Okay, so explain me a little in what consists this festival or this.
So the MFest 07, this is the second in our series of conferences looking at the development of what we think of as a new medium we call mediascapes, and it's triggering media based on events, sensed events. So in most cases it's location to start with. So GPS, you get a GPS signal, you know where you are, and the authors will have determined what media will get presented when you are in that space. So the easiest way to think of mediascapes is if you think of those audio tours that you can rent when you go to locations like castles and theme parks. You can get a tour which is you put on headphones and you'll get a little device you hold in your hand, and the previous generation of these, it would say, when you get to this point, press the button and it will start, and then you will walk in a set route and it will tell you things as you walk, and it will be timed to your walk. Or if it's not timed to your walk, when you get to a location, it'll say press this button, and you press a button and you'll hear something, and then you walk to the next location, press a button. With mediascapes, what the technology allows you to do is just walk in any direction, any order you like, and then media experiences will have been placed in those locations, and just as if by magic, they will just happen as you enter a space. So the experiences that can be delivered, they could be pictures, they could be video, they could be sounds, music, they could be narrative, someone telling you about a place. For instance, we did one that was on the commuter ferry here in the harbour side in Bristol, so the ferry that takes commuters up and down the harbour side. Sometimes the schools use this ferry to do tours of the harbour side where they learn about the history of the harbour side, and so the boat's location would be used to deliver descriptions and pictures and sounds that coincide with the bit of the harbour side that the boat is passing. So you would hear about the history of Bristol and that piece of Bristol and how it's changed over the years as you sat in the boat and went up the harbour side.
Okay, but when do you think that people will be using it, like the mobiles? And
so at the moment, the people that use it will either have borrowed a device, a player, from the place that they've gone to, who will be renting them out to them, or they will have their own. And the number of people who have their own at the moment is limited just to those people who own personal digital assistants, these PDAs, or smartphones. So the smartphones that run on Windows platform, you can use those to experience these experiences. Hopefully over the next year or maybe 2 years, then we will start to get the player onto a number of other platforms, and particularly the phone platform. The problem with the phone platform is that it's a lot of platforms, it's not just one. Like you think of, personal computers, there's just one platform that you use, it's the Windows platform. It's not like that for phones. You've got a number of them, and so we have to do a different player each time for each one. So it will take a while for that to roll. So, but maybe the next 2 years or so.
And share with your friends, for example, I don't know, your favorite trip or your favorite places to listen this kind of music, or just to make more, make that, okay, yeah, go on. Sorry.
So if let's say you wanted to create a treasure hunt. So you wanted to have the game where you go to a location and you get the clue for the next location, and you go to that one, you get the clue for the next one, and it takes you around a town or a city. And at the end, there's you either score points for the number of places you visited, or there's a prize at the end. So you can go to you can go to the website and go to the wizard, and there's actually a treasure hunt wizard which allows you to then type in the clues for each of the legs of the treasure hunt. And once you've done that, you then just hit download. That would then download onto your handheld device. So because we're in the Windows world at the moment, then you would have connected your handheld device to your PC. And with active sync is the way that we do it in Windows. So you create on your PC using the wizard this treasure hunt. You hit download, it downloads it onto your handheld device, and then you would go out and try it and make sure that it worked as you intended it to work. Because sometimes if you're doing it at your desk, you don't quite get it right when you're out there. Maybe that clue's a little bit too hard because from here I can't quite see the thing I was referring to, in which case you have to go back and iterate round. But once you've tried it, then you can upload it to the website, and then it's there for anybody to go and download it onto their PC from the website, and then from their PC onto their handheld device. And then they can go and they can try and solve your clues and get to the prize at the end.
I think Mediascape is this exactly. So can you explain me a little the aim of Mediascape?
So the current aim of the project is to get as many people making these things as possible. It's rather because we're at the early days. So what we're doing is if you think of what Mediascapes do, they fuse, they merge the physical and the digital. So you can enrich the physical space with a digital experience, with a bit of audio or a picture. So you're creating new experiences. And at the moment, because it's early days, we're just sort of finding out how to become good at this sort of design and in what areas this technology or this capability will really provide the most benefit into people's lifestyles. It's rather like the tale I like to tell is that in 1895, the Lumieres invented the cinematograph, and they thought they'd invented moving photographs. They thought it was part of photography and it's like moving photographs. So they would do little 20-second movies of people crossing the streets, of a train coming into a station. But they thought, well, there's no real value in this because people will get bored with the novelty. And it wasn't until other people had seen what they'd done, had brought their perspectives and thought, no, you don't want to do that with it, you want to do this with it. And then someone had said, no, you don't want to do that with it, you want to do this with it. And when it got to the point where somebody said, you want to tell stories with this medium, this new cinematograph thing, it's more like theatre than it is photography. And as soon as it got positioned as being like theatre, then the film industry started. And the value really took off and it became the popular thing it is today. And we're sort of at the moving photograph stage with Mediascapes. There are Steven Spielbergs out there who will be incredibly good at merging the physical and the digital. But in order to get there, we need to get as many people practicing, exploring, learning what to do with the new medium as possible. And somewhere down the line, we'll have Mediascapes, maybe films will be Mediascapes. So instead of sitting in a cinema watching a film, you'll be out on the street in the scene, watching the scene go by. So there are all sorts of different applications, but we're just enabling people to explore so that we can find out what all those sorts of applications might be.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. In addition is that at the moment the main sensor is GPS, so location based. But as we add more sensors into this, you'll be able to get more events into the device and so deliver different sorts of experience. So for instance, if we go well out into the future, there are now materials that can measure how bent they are. Right? And there are accelerometers can know what sort of gestures I'm doing with my hands. Okay. So if I put those two things together, you could imagine having a ski jacket that teaches you to ski as you go down the slope, because it knows whether I'm bending my knees correctly, whether I'm keeping my back straight, whether I'm completing my turns, how fast I'm going down the slope. And it can, in real time, then tell me, if I just have an earphone, it can tell me, as I go down, you're not bending your knees properly. That bottom knee is on the left-hand side is not really digging in. You need to complete your turns. You're going too fast down the right-hand turns so you can get this sort of tutoring as you go down. And that's because you're sensing different things about your world and you're using that to deliver the right thing in the moment. So it's not anything, anytime, anywhere, which is what the IT industry have been telling us for years that we can deliver, but it's the next stage. It's delivering the right thing in the moment.